We are here to talk about student engagement until day 187. This is a new format for us. This is Google Hangouts. And so you'll have to let us know if you like it or not. Hopefully you will, and hopefully we'll be able to do some good stuff with it. I'm going to share my screen with you now. And don't freak out for a second here because I'm going to have to transfer over to another slide so you don't get seasick with the tunnel effect. Okay, so we're going to start with talking about engagement and collaboration. So what we want to accomplish in the last, several weeks of school is to keep our kids engaged. And the best way to do that is to provide some collaboration for them and apps that will let them work together. So many of you are using Kahoot already. So that's a great tool, and it provides a lot of student engagement, not a lot of student collaboration, but there are some things that you can do with Kahoot to help improve some of the collaboration that the students can do. And there are a couple new features that I want to talk to you about. The first is that Kahoot is trying to ramp up the picture and video galleries that they're providing. They're working with some different groups of people and vendors to provide the end user with picture galleries and video galleries to use to kind of keep a theme going on throughout the entire Kahoot, which is kind of cool. So don't forget that you can put pictures and videos into your Kahoot quizzes, so that kind of ramps up your student engagement also. Then there's a thing called ghost mode. If you haven't tried ghost mode out, I highly recommend. Once the students have played the Kahoot one time, they can choose to go back in ghost mode as the same person that played the quiz the first time, and they can try and beat other scores or their own score or a teacher score or things like that. So that's kind of cool. We have connected Kahoots going on in the district, and there are ways to use different tools on your computer, like maybe a Google Hangout, to have a connected Kahoot where you share the game pin on a Kahoot that you start in your classroom with other classrooms, and then you can all be in the same game at the same time. Excuse me. Kahoot is adding something called team play. So when you create a Kahoot, you have the opportunity to create teams now. And that's a really great thing if you have limited devices in your classroom. So if you only have 10 Chromebooks or only 10 students brought a device, then you can have them create a team, and they put in a team name, and they create, they put in all of the people's names who are on that team. So if I created a team and I said we're the instructional technology team, then I would have a place to put in Tina's name and Michelle's name and George's name and David's name, and we could all be part of one team, which is kind of cool. I would love for them to come up with a way to have kids be able to log in and then join a team. And so everybody has a device and everybody's playing, but they're playing on a team and all their points go towards team points. But they haven't quite come out with that yet. So that's just me being fanciful and wishful. And then one of the ways to really ramp up the collaboration and the engagement with the Kahoot is to kind of flip the Kahoot around a little bit and have students write the questions that creates the Kahoot, and then they can play the Kahoot, and it would be just a collaborative effort from everybody in the classroom.
Can I chime in for a minute?
Absolutely, go.
Okay, guys, I'm looking at the questions that some of you have put. You put your names. The little question and answer area over to the right is almost like a one-way street for typing. You type your question, and then Tina can pause on that question for a moment and answer that question. But there's no way for us to type an answer into that area there. And then one other thing is, if you're looking at the video and you have dots along the bottom of your screen and a thumb up and a thumb down, you can vote on the different topics that Tina's talking about at that time on whether you like that one or you don't, or you think this is a great idea or you don't think it's a great idea. We're kind of playing around with two little systems here with the Google Hangouts. So we're interested to see what kind of data we'll get back with it.
So back to Kahoot. If you don't know how to get started with Kahoot, you do go to getkahoot.com to get started, and then you will sign up in the top right-hand corner, create an account. It's very intuitive. It's not hard to figure out that you need to click on quiz and how to put questions in. So Get Kahoot is where to get started. And there are tutorials on that page, and that will help you get started using Kahoot. So it's a great tool, and if you haven't tried it out yet, I highly recommend. Okay, one of the things that I really like for the end of the year are a couple of comic strip creators that I want to talk to you about. The comic strip creators, writecomics.com and Make Beliefs Comics with an X on the end, .com are great for being able to get kids really engaged in a topic. And so you'll notice on this page that on the right-hand side, we have some different examples of things that you could do with the Write Comics and Make Believe Comics websites. So let me show you Write Comics. I'm going to only do one of them because otherwise we'd be here for 2 hours. So we're going to take a look at Write Comics. In this comic strip creator, you don't have to log in. That's one of the things that I really like about it. And then you have a blank space at the top of the screen, and you have characters that you can add to your scene. So you have people, props, aliens, and animals, and you can add those different types of characters. And then if you scroll down, you have different backgrounds that you can scroll through. And then you have your speech bubbles. So it's very easy to create a very quick comic strip. And so if I wanted to add a picture name here and say this is a bear in park. Just kind of play with it a little bit. So I could come down to my backgrounds and I could scroll through and try and find something that I wanted to use for a background. And I can scroll over. This is the part I don't like about this one is it is kind of hard to navigate through things, but you just kind of get used to it. So I'm going to choose one of the backgrounds. And you'll see that it put it into my comic strip creator at the top. And then I can scroll through some of the different characters that are in the program. I don't have a whole lot going on here. Let's put a horse in there. I might have to change my title. So I have a horse on an island. And I could bring a prop in there. Maybe there's a helicopter. I'll flip them around. Or make them smaller or something. And then I can add another scene, and I can add a strip here, or I can add another scene. And so you play around with it until you get what you want. And then once you're done with it, you can add some dialogue if you want. Then your strip will hang out, and you can copy it over to, I think it's behind here somewhere. There is a place to download it and save it. So you can create your own comic strips using writecomics.com. The other one is Make Believe Comics, and I'm going to lie to you, and I'm going to come out to that one because I like it a little bit better. I probably should have started with that one. This one actually lets you choose to create 1 panel, 2 panel, 3 panel comic strips. And so once you get in, you can create your own. I'm going to enter here. There's a demo that you can do, so it gives you some tutorials. And this one, you actually have some tools over on the side, and you have to scroll through your characters. So here I have a 3 strip panel. I can name it up here, and I can put my name up here, and I can choose different characters. And here are my characters, and I can scroll through them. And once I click on a character, like this kid right here, then I get in this panel different renditions of the character. So he can be doing a couple of different things. So then if I want him, I can click on him and he ends up in the strip. And if I click on another panel, then I can add the character to different strips, different pages in the strip. I can do background colors. I can do objects, backgrounds. So over here in this panel, you can choose the different things to kind of scroll through and look at. So here are some backgrounds. I could put a background there and play with that. And I can actually move those things around and flip them around using these tools over here. I'm going to need water, Michelle. No, you take over. I'll go get water.
I'm gonna get you water. You keep going.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm having some a little coughing fit. Michelle's gonna get me some water. It's gonna be good. So once you're done with your comic strip on this page, then you can save it and download it. So here you can download different templates and printables and things like that. And so once you're done, you can print it, you can send it to your email, and it does go to your Tomball School's email address. So you can save it and send it to yourself, or save it to your to a disk, which means you can save it to your computer. So there's some really good things you can do with that one. Thank you very much. So here are some really good ideas for using those comic strip creators. Maybe doing something with autobiographies or biographies. Maybe explaining some vocabulary words, putting them into some context in a conversation that characters are having. Working on conversation skills, doing something with current events. Maybe something with conflict resolution or digital citizenship, so we can get those social skills in using these writing prompts. How about a writing prompt that you give them that they have to create something that goes along with? Or they can illustrate an important event in history. So just some ways that you could use those. I'm sure you have several. If you have some other ones that you're thinking of, please feel free to put them in the comment section. We would love to hear them. If you haven't tried an avatar creator, here are a couple that actually make the avatar speak, which I think is awesome. And so both of these, Blabberize and Voki, are really great tools that you can use to have students take a picture or choose an avatar that lets them create something that's going to talk. So let's kind of look at Blabberize a little bit. I'm just going to show you the sample of the llama because I think he's hilarious, and this is the one that I show people when I show Blabberize because it's so funny.
Welcome to Blabberize.com, the only internet site that you can upload a picture, select the mouse on that picture, and then record some sound. And this is the one we got crazy. We make that picture talk to the sound. A talking picture. I'm not kidding. This is real. Okay? When we show it to people for the first time, they hear a boom inside their head. They are so amazed.
So you can see that you can take a picture of anything, and you can move a mouth on it, and then you can make it talk. And it says it takes like 30 seconds. You should make one too. It really does take like 30 seconds. So if you click on make, and you can find a picture by browsing, and you do have to have a picture already selected. One of the pictures that I really like is the koala bear in the sample pictures because he has a pretty good mouth for this kind of thing. So I pull the koala bear in for my sample, and then I click the next button, and this is my mouth, and I can move it around, and I can actually kind of play with it a little bit and line it up to where I think the koala's mouth is. There.
Yeah.
This is where Michelle says the koala's mouth is right here.
And then bring that all the way up to the bottom right there. Where does he find it?
So you maneuver this mouth to where you think he should be and kind of play with it a little bit. Right
A
there.
koala bear's mouth is hard to find. Yeah,
Right there.
somewhere around there.
This is group effort here. We're collaborating.
Yeah, that looks about right.
Okay. All right. So there's my mouth, and this green dot down here, this is how far down the mouth will go. So you kind of want to play with that a little bit. And then you can actually have more than one character in there, and you can add more than one mouth, which is kind of cool. And then you say what kind of sound, You can record sound. So I can click on the recorder and then I can start talking, and you can see that this is how the koala's mouth will move when I make the koala talk. So when I'm done, I say start recording and it will make the mouth move, and then I say stop, and then I go to the next and I can play it. Start recording and it will make the mouth move, and so it's pretty cool. That's just a quick overview of what this does. I have some second grade teachers who use this for their animal reports and projects when they do their research. But you can put any picture in here. You can put pictures of presidents, pictures of athletes, pictures of animals. As long as you have a good, clear picture of the mouth, it's very fun. The other one, if you haven't used, is Voki. Voki is an app that's really good for kids who are 13 and over because they do have to be 13 to use Voki. And they take already created pictures of avatars that they have in the program, and then you can make them say whatever you want to by recording a voice over that avatar. So that's another one that's really good. So here again, some thoughts on that: autobiographies or biographies, historical figures that explain a position, animal research. You could bring in an expert like Einstein and have them explain a science principle, or Tesla, or whatever expert you can find a picture of. You can have the kids use a picture of themselves, and they have to debate using just their avatars. Their avatars have to tell you why they think something, or explain something to an incoming class. So they could create their own avatar or a picture of themselves, and then they could do a little blabberize or a Voki about something from your classroom, and that's something you can show the kids that come into your class next year, which I think would be a lot of fun.
And we've been getting questions about where can they find the links to these.
All of these tools are in our digital toolkit, which if you come up to Instructional Technology and you go to the resources, the TISD Technology Toolkit is the last link under resources. And everything should be on this list along with some other really good tools. So please take a look at the list that we have here, and you'll be able to find everything on there.
And tutorials off on the right. There's little video tutorials on how to use the tools as well.
Oh yes, that's a very good point. Thank you, Michelle. It also tells you whether or not you can sign in with your Google account using the tool, and then the tutorial is over here on the right-hand side, which gives you a quick 2 to 5 minute overview of the program and how to get started. So that's a really good tool. We are going to be posting the link to this video after the webinar is over. So we're going to send that out either this afternoon or tomorrow. And so along with that, we will send the link to this presentation, which has links to all of these different tools. So you'll have that available also. So thank you for asking. That's a very good question. All right, another really good tool that Michelle and I like are the conversation boards, the online conversation boards. And in those conversation boards, you can have a group of kids having a conversation online on a cork board or a poster board type environment. It's kind of like having a parking lot in your classroom where you just have a door and the kids can put sticky notes up on the door. That's kind of what this is. And I really like these tools because you are able to have every kid participating, whereas in a comic strip creator, they might be working together or by themselves, but here it's a collaborative environment and every kid can have a say, even those quiet ones who never want to raise their hand. So the one that we really highly recommend is Padlet. And so let's take you out to Padlet and kind of see what goes on in Padlet. Padlet lets you, I'm going to log in here real quick with my Google account. Love that. One-click shop. And so Padlet is a big, it used to be called Wall Wisher. It's basically a big wall that you can post sticky notes on. So I'm going to open up one of my Padlets. Here's an untitled one, so let's look at that one. And when that wall opens, you'll see it's just a big space here. And kids can double click anywhere and add a sticky note to the Padlet. So if you double click anywhere, it lets you create a title and write something. And I usually have them write their name in their title, and then whatever it was that they were going to say about the topic is what they write in the box. And then they click off of it to leave it alone and leave it where they want it. But there are some other things here that they can do. So they can record their voice as an attachment. They can add a video. They can add a photo. They can link out to a document. So there are some really cool things here they can do with some of these links. So when I click off of it, it just leaves the topic there. So as a teacher, you would come over here to the side when you create a Padlet. Let me start over here. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to say new Padlet up here in the top corner as a teacher once I sign in with my Google account. And this is my new Padlet. And then over here on the side, I have a settings button to modify the Padlet. And I can give it a title. And that's going to show up at the top left-hand corner. I can provide a description. And that shows up in the top left-hand corner. I can tag it. I can choose a different background if I don't like the default background that comes with it. So there are some other options. I could try and be thematic a little bit if I want to. And then the layout is very important. The free form lets the kids double click anywhere, and the Padlet, the little sticky notes just kind of go all over the place. So I like to choose either stream or grid. So I change my layout, and then in the stream, they're just one in line with another, and in the grid, they are little boxes that show up, and so they're not laying over the top of somebody else's sticky note that they put in. And so you create your Padlet, and then you provide the link at the top to your students. You can also come over here to the address link, and you can actually change the URL. It's always going to be padlet.com/ and then if you log in with your Google account, your number or whatever your username is will go there first, and then you can change the end part. So if you were doing a response to a blog, you could call it blog, and if you were doing a response to a writing prompt, you could call it WP.1 or whatever. So you can change that, which sometimes makes it easier for kids to get to. You can take that link and post it somewhere. You can post it in your Edlio. You can put it in a Google Classroom, whatever. So this button right here, copy, is a really important one too. You can copy with posts or without posts. So if you need to make a Padlet for period 1, period 2, period 3, you can do that very easily without having to recreate everything every time and still have the same title and the same background. And so it keeps all of your settings, but it makes a copy for another class period, so you don't have to come in and kind of keep track of that. So that's getting started with Padlet. So in using Padlet, Lino board, lino.it or linoit.com is kind of the same thing. And then real-time board, they all do basically the same thing, just different ways of posting. Lino is definitely sticky notes instead of little boxes. And real-time board lets you kind of get a little, it's a little bit more advanced, so you might want to use that if you're in secondary. But I've seen some really cool things to this. If you just post a question, it's a great tool for that. You can create a board about a specific topic and have kids go out and find resources to post on the board that go with that topic. One of my favorite lessons that I've ever seen with this was the kids had to create a board and they had to find a picture that went with an analogy that the teacher posted. So if it was, you know, like social responsibility, you have to go out and find a picture that would represent social responsibility, and the kids had to post all of those pictures on one board. So the middle was kind of like social responsibility, and then the kids all had to find a picture that would represent that. So I thought that was a really, really cool lesson. So just some different things you can do with it.
What's really neat about real-time board is you have a really huge canvas to work with. And so you can zoom it in or zoom it out and be able to really plan and organize your ideas.
Okay, so the next one is Google Draw. And there are some really, really great things that you can do with Google Draw. And if you aren't using your Tomball Schools Google account with your kids and having them do some Google Docs and Google Slides, then I highly suggest that you start there, because Google Draw is a great tool to incorporate with both of those things, and it's also a great tool to use on its own. But I really feel like the Google tools offer a lot of collaborative opportunities for kids, and that keeps them involved in the learning while they're trying to do their work and their projects. So if they can work together through Google Docs, through Google Slides, and through Google Draw, then all the better. Google Draw is actually located in your Google Drive. So I'm going to come out to Google Drive and show you where you can find that. If I'm on the New button over here on the left, and I click on New, and I go to More, and then I get Google Drawings. And that's going to open up a canvas. If you've ever used Microsoft Paint or Sumo Paint online, it kind of does some of the same things. And this is my option to Microsoft Publisher. If you are a Microsoft user and you really like Publisher, then this is something that I think can help you make that transition over to Google to create posters and things like that. So this will help you do some of that. It doesn't have all of the templates, the little clip art things that go with Publisher, so it's a little limited in that way, but it does let you bring in pictures from other places to use in your drawing, so that's always a good thing. So this is my canvas, and my title is up here, and I can put into this canvas and move things around, shapes and text boxes and images, and I can add comments over to the side, but I can share this canvas with someone else to work with me, so we can work collaboratively, which is always a good thing.
So you could always share your Google Drive canvas here in your Google Classroom and say, each group gets their own Google Drawing canvas, and they can do concept maps, infographics, anchor charts, whatever you want them to do as a group project.
So you can bring in these different shapes and tools here. Very simple interface. You can overlap things. You can change the color of things, the width of lines, things like that. You can bring in a text box to lay over that. So you can start to see how you could create your poster. I want to make my text white so it stands out really well. I'm going to make it really big. I can play with my fonts, and one of the great things about Google is that I can always add more fonts down here at the bottom, and they do have some cool fonts in Google, so it's a great tool. That's not the one I wanted.
I don't like that one.
I don't like that one either. We get stuck in fonts for just days upon days. We're one of those kids that just...
What about that one?
The
bonbons.
Bonbons is cool.
Bonbon.
I like that.
Make it bigger.
So there are lots of really cool things you can do in Google Drawing, and the kids can work together in a drawing space, and they can create things to respond to show what they know, to respond to prompts, things like that.
Share with me real quick. I want to show you.
Okay, so I'm going to share with Michelle real quick. I'm going to come up here to the share button, and
I'm going to request sharing.
Add her name here.
Oh no! Share your Google thing with me. The Google Hangout. Oh, so I can show them these two other examples I found. I couldn't add them to the presentation because it won't let me in. I mean, not that it won't let me because you didn't give it to me.
You want me to share this with you?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to stop presenting so Michelle can present.
Just for a moment. Did I share? Am I on it?
You're on, yes.
Okay. So there were some ways. I don't think
Go
it's
ahead.
presenting. Hold on. We're trying to toss the baton quickly here.
Click on you.
I am on you. But I'm
And
not
now
showing.
share your screen.
I thought I had, but I must not have.
Like we
Okay.
said, this is the first time we've played with Google Hangouts on air, and we're hoping that we like it. If not, we'll go back to Adobe Connect.
So for something simple here, and you might think, ooh, we have to be fancy. You don't have to be fancy. This is a very simple science. Animals have specific characteristics and behavior to protect themselves. So students can make something very simple. And I'm just gonna thumb through these slides real quick, but my Chromebook is acting like it's tired for the day. So I just wanted to show you some very simplistic type mind maps there. You can also do, where'd my little, like an anchor chart type thing with your students. They can make big letters, colorful letters, and then put some information on it. They can get very fancy and do something where they can change the canvas size and make it bigger than the average 8x10 piece of paper. And this is just a neat way, 10 ways to use Google Drawings in the classroom. Of course, this is a little more complex. They have a background and other things on there. So you can do lots of things with creating your, where is that other one? And I had another one open. For example, a crime scene. Come on, PDF. There it is. So for if somebody's teaching about, let's say, for example, forensic science in the high school, the students can draw out the crime scene, or if you're having them draw a map or draw the classroom, they can actually draw these things in Google Drive. So it has a lot of uses there. Okay, I'm going to pass.
Okay, go back to your 10 things. So on our presentation, we have some things that you can do with Google Draw. But here we have create an infographic, create a timeline, create a logo for a unit or a project, do some sketch notes, scroll up.
I'm working on it.
Create a digital signature. You probably wouldn't do that with your kids.
No.
Show your work on a math problem. That would be an awesome thing. Create a graphic organizer of mind map. Create a graphical title for something that you worked on. Digital badges, if you wanted to give kids badges and work on some badging. In your classroom, you could do that through Google Draw. So just some different things that you could possibly do.
Okay, I'm stopping sharing and handing it back to Tina.
All right. Find my presentation. Okay, so coming back to our presentation, we also have some ideas for you to use posters for your incoming class, and maybe some digital citizenship topics. Creating some posters for that. That would be a great project for the end of the year so that you can pass those along. Visuals for your research project. So if the kids have to have a poster to go along with their research, or they have to create something that goes along with their research, they can do that in Google Draw and pull in a whole bunch of stuff from their research, and then they wouldn't have 5,000 slides that show just their visuals. Explain a method for problem solving, science process posters, flow charts for processes, or even creating a meme, pulling out a cute picture and then doing a cute little title that goes with it. Maybe something about your classroom. That would be cool.
We had a few questions, and I'm sorry, it's kind of a lag because the questions are coming in lagging wise. But going back to the comic strip, can you print out the finished comic strip?
Yes.
Yes. And then the web addresses we already showed you. And then somebody else said something about Google Draw, and I'm not seeing it on my view. Okay, here we have it. YouTube, can't find the questions. Okay. Would Google Draw be good for the kids to use to create an ad for media literacy? And yes,
absolutely.
That would be a great use. There's also another tool that's coming down the pipe, but we'll do a separate webinar on that later.
Okay, so the next tool that we highly recommend is Google Sites. Every student, every teacher has the ability to create a Google site using their Tomball Schools Google account. And you can create more than one. So if you are doing a research project and you want your kids to create something based on that research, or you have, you just want to compile some things that they've done throughout the year, a Google site is a really great tool for that. So it will show anything you want them to show about a topic they've learned about, or it's great for e-portfolios and saving your favorite stuff throughout your year and compiling it all in one place. Every kid has the opportunity to create one of these. If you start, once they've logged into their Google account, or they have logged into Chrome on a desktop, if you start on a new tab and you get your apps launcher up in the top right hand corner, or on a Chromebook in your bottom left-hand corner with all apps, you can click on the apps launcher and one of your options is Sites, Google Sites. So once you've opened Google Sites, you will see a list of all the sites that you've created, and you can see that I have created quite a few Google Sites. And you can create a new Google site by clicking on the Create button. And once you click the Create button, you have the opportunity to use just a blank template, or you can browse the gallery for templates. And so you can see different templates that you can use. So here's activities and events, and there are different templates for school and education, and there are different templates. So depending on what you want to go for, there are some different templates in here that are kind of cool. So I'm going to use this one that says this site can be used for anything. I'm going to use that template. I think it's kind of cute. And I'm going to select that, and then I give my site a name. Naming the site is very, very important because when you name the site, that's what's on the front page, and that becomes part of the URL. So any spaces become little dashes in the URL, which means that they have to type those in to get to the site or bookmark it somewhere. So I'm going to call this site Demo Site. So notice I put in the demo site here, and if you want your kids to make sure they have caps, then talk about that here because that's going to be important. That's going to be what's on the front page. And then down here is my link, sites.google.com/a/tomballschools.net/whatever I put in as my title. And then I come up here to create, and I click on create. Now this is a very, very quick overview of creating a Google site, and I'm just going to give you some of the important basics for adding content to the site, and not really a whole lot of the in-depth managing the site and the back end and all that kind of stuff. So it does take a couple of seconds because Google is creating a live website that is viewable by anybody that you decide to share it with. And here's that template. And once I look at the template, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I really like that template anymore. So I might want to go in and change that. So let me show you a couple of things. So notice there's the name of my site. So whatever I choose as my name is on the front page. And then this right here is the Edit the Page button. And that's a very important button. And then we have Add a Page button. And then we have some settings that we'll get into. The Edit the Page button will let you change the content that is on this page. So I'm going to click on Edit the Page. And you're going to see that I get some of the things that I can do in like a word processing slides type of editing tool. And here is the first option on the menu. It's Insert. And this is a very important menu because this is where you can insert images, links, HTML boxes, text boxes, or things from your Google Drive. So right here I can add in documents, drawings, folders, forms, images, presentations, and spreadsheets and videos that I have in my Google Drive. I can also add YouTube videos. I can add maps. So this insert button is where you have most of the things that you're going to insert into this site. So I'm going to start with just in Drive. I know I have a presentation that I want to add, and I'm going to click on Student Engagement Webinar. This is the presentation from today. So I get to choose, do I want a border? Do I want the title in there? Do I want it to start automatically? Do I want it to be big or small? And so once I choose those things, I click to put it in, and it shows up right here, but you can't see it yet until I come up here and save. You always have to save. So when I click Save, you'll notice that here is my presentation from today, and it's in the website. And I did that by editing the page and inserting. So I can insert pictures, I can insert text boxes, presentations, maps, YouTube videos, whatever it is. The next button is Formatting, and that lets you change heading sizes and alignment. And then I can insert a table if I would like to kind of organize my text in a certain way. I can insert tables, so that's nice. And then the overall site of the overall layout of the site right now is just one great big huge column, and I can separate that into 2 columns or 3 columns. So this site layout is just helps you with how the site looks. And then I have the help feature, which is a very good feature. There are some good help topics in there if you need some help. So that is about putting content on a page itself, but notice I do have 3 other pages. So I can click on any page and edit and add content to those pages. If I wanted to add another page, then the button next to my edit button is the create page. And I could add another page, name my page.
This is the new page.
Tell it I want it to be a web page. That's usually the one I choose. And then put it at the top level or put it underneath home. So I can start creating sub pages or just another page along the top. And then I say create. And it takes me to that page to edit. So here I have home, hello, hi, sitemap. And then over here I have new page. So I'm on the new page. And I'm in the edit mode for the new page. Something you want to say?
No.
Okay.
My mouth just decided to roll on.
Okay. And so I can save that.
I do have some. If you want, so like my initial forgetfulness was I was thinking it was going to show up as a button up at the top, but it shows up on the right navigation, but you can add it through other settings to the top if you were expecting it to show up there. You can see my finger pointing. But if you are expecting to see it up at the top as a button, it's very simple to add that navigation up at the top.
So this is part of the site navigation, and that is not found in either of these 2 buttons. That's over here in your settings. There are a couple of things in the settings that I want to go over, but when I click on the settings, notice there's a lot of stuff on here. I'm not going to go over everything in here, but there is a revision history. So if kids are working together on a site, you can see who has done what and who deleted what and who added what and who put in that inappropriate thing and who's done most of the work. So there is a revision history just like all the other aspects of Google. Yes.
Oh,
so right down here are the 2 buttons that you're going to need the most. And that is edit site layout and manage site. So I'm going to click on edit site layout. And if I wanted to add that new page to the site layout at the top, this is the one I'm going to need. So I'm going to click on edit site layout, and it's going to open up the layout of this page at the top where I can choose the horizontal navigation, the sidebar, and things like that. So the horizontal navigation is what I have right here. It's
you turned it off. Turn it back on.
It's horizontal across the top, and I have the different buttons. So when I click here, it gives me all of the options that are on that site navigation. And I can add a new page here, and I can go out and find that new page and click on OK. And I can move it up and down or make it a sub page by using these buttons over here. And if there's something on that site navigation that I don't want, I can get rid of it using my trash can.
I think you need to demote high.
I need to do
under
my
hello.
Okay, so it should be under hello. So I'm going to move it over one. So now it's a sub page. And then I click OK. And then when I close that, you're going to see that I have new page. That's the page I'm on. And now I have hello. And when I click on hello, then I should have my hi page.
Hover over hello and then hi.
And I get my hi page right there. And both of them still show up over here on the side. So that's the edit the site layout. That gets a little bit complicated, but the kids pick up on that pretty quickly.
Oh, they pick up not really fast.
And then I have manage site. And remember how I said this this site was a little bit loud for me. So here's where I can change my themes, fonts, and colors, and my sharing permissions. So let's start with themes, fonts, and colors. Say that again.
It's 447.
Thank you. And I'm going to just choose a different theme and make something very simple and then save it. And it's not saving anything.
It's taking its sweet, precious
It is
time.
taking its sweet time. Your changes have been saved. Doesn't look like it. And then here in sharing and permissions, this is where if kids were going to work together, you would have one kid create the site and then they would share the site with the other students. And right here, every site is private only to you until you change that, until you invite certain people, or until you say that this can be public to anybody in Tomball or anybody in Tomball with a link or anyone with a link. So this is what you have to think about on the teacher side. Who are these kids going to be able to share this site with? Who can find this site and see it? So those are the two really important things on the manage site page. So once you create your site, the kids can put all kinds of information into these sites, and they just go to town with it. They have a ball. And our last set of tools is video creation tools. And on our instructional technology toolkit, we have several, including Animoto and WeVideo. And then we have a Screencastify, which does something a little bit different. So if you're looking for video creation, video editing, you want to use something like WeVideo or Animoto. Animoto lets you create, oh, and I did not link out to Animoto. I'll have to fix that. Animoto lets you create short videos. See if we can find a sample. You do have to have an account. One of the best things about Animoto is that there is an Animoto for Education, and it will let you have up to 50 student accounts, and you give your kids an account code, and then they can have an account that lets them make more than 30-second videos, because the basic account creation just lets you have 30-second videos. So here is a sample video right here. It has a lot of templates to it. It has automatic transitions. It's very easy to use and intuitive. These are just with the sample pictures that I created. So you can see, bring in your pictures, and the program pretty much does the rest.
Can they narrate over the videos? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's just music and pictures. And they can go into Google Slides and make pictures with text on top of it and export those slides as pictures.
Now they can type. They can do captions. There are not a whole lot of.
Oh yeah, they can.
They don't have a whole lot of space, but they can put captions on top. They cannot do voiceovers. So, but it's a great tool to be able to use to show what you know.
Quick to use.
WeVideo, and I didn't link out to that one either, is more of a video editing tool. And with WeVideo, you can log in with your student account, but your kids really need to be 13 and over to use this tool. But you can log in with Google.
And that's what we advise you to use, because it's quick and easy. And if you do log in with Google, it'll tie directly in with your Google Drive and save your videos there.
Yes. So you do get a dashboard, and here's the media, and here are my videos. Oh, it doesn't even have, I have videos in there. I must have my own personal
You must have done
account.
it with your, yeah. But if you do create new, you can, they have a record feature now that you can record with the webcam.
So once the video editing tool opens, you can add media, you can record, you can pull videos down here, and you can edit them and create things. And here's narration and adding music and adding different effects. So there are some really cool things that you can do with WeVideo. It has a limit to the amount of video space you can take up. It's a certain amount of video or a certain length of video.
Well, you can only export up to 5 gigs a month. You can put, because all the videos housed on your Google Drive, so you can fill that up. But when you're creating your video, your max video size that you can export is 5 gigs or 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
So 5 minutes of video. So you don't want your videos to be longer than 5 minutes anyway.
That's right.
But once you use all that up, so when the kids are pulling their videos off of WeVideo, let's say they do the same video 3 times because they keep making a mistake, eventually they're going to run out of their 5 there, and it's going to say, sorry, you've already utilized your quota for the month.
And then they have to wait until next month before they can do anything else. So there is a limit to it, but it is a great tool for those
awesome.
13 and over kids. to be able to do some video editing. And there are not very many good video editing tools out there. Believe me, we have looked. So this one is one we recommend, but it does have its limitations. And then the last tool we have here is Screencastify. This is actually a Chrome extension, and I am in Chrome right now, and you can see that I have extensions here across the top right-hand corner of my screen, and one of them is Screencastify. When I click on that, if I have my webcam plugged into my computer, this extension will record everything that's on my screen, which is really, really cool for any kind of blended learning, flipped classroom that you might be considering. It's very cool for taking videos that you are taking presentations you have, narrating over them and creating videos that you can post different places, having the kids create videos. They can play music on another tab and have that in the background while they have a presentation going, while they're talking, and just incorporate all of that together in one video without having to do all of that video editing stuff that goes along with that wee video.
There's one caveat with this that I learned today. I had a teacher using Screencastify with their students, and it was telling the students that they were out of drive space.
Oh, goodness.
And I did a little research, and Screencastify needs at least 1 gig of space on the device. And I think so many kids have used their Chromebooks and they've downloaded stuff that they've utilized a lot of that drive space because there's not that much to begin with. And so if you run into any of those problems, it's probably because they need to delete from their downloads. But if you do, let us know and we'll come help you out.
It's good to know.
Don't give up.
So some different things that you could do with these video creation tools. Choose text from a novel, bring in images and music, and set the tone of that particular piece of writing. Create video tutorials on some of the year's toughest topics. So the kids in your current class are creating videos that you might be able to use to help kids who are struggling next year. Or create a year in review for your content area. What did we learn about this year? And divide up some topics and have your kids basically create a year in review. And kids can create things to tell the next class, okay, here are the rules, here are the expectations. That would be really cute to have kids telling the next class that. So just some different ideas for things you could do at the end of the year to use these video tools, video creation tools. So one of the things that I really, really believe in is student choice. And once you teach your kids different tools, you show them a comic strip creator, you show them an avatar creator, you show them Google Draw, you show them how to create videos. And then whenever you have a project, it's very easy to say, all right, now you've done this and this and this year, so you have to show me what you know using one of these tools. And that lets them choose the one that they like to use to show you what they know. And then you get more student engagement, and they can work together to do that because almost all of these tools are collaborative and allow kids to work together on them. Go ahead.
And the biggest thing with that student choice is that you concentrate on how well they're communicating the information. Don't grade them on how many slides did they include and how much white space is included or how many fonts did they use in the presentation. It's all about those 21st century skills of, can they communicate it effectively? Are they collaborating?
Were they able to troubleshoot problems to get past those to create something that shows you what they know? So those are the important skills that we would hope that the kids would be focusing on when they are doing their project creation.
And then you focus in on your content. So in your rubric, you list what do you want to see in your project, and that's what you're grading. Not the how they're, it is how they're communicating it, but not the medium that they're using. It is just, here's what I need you to show me, and can you communicate it effectively?
So as long as you have like the same objectives, when you show me what you know, I want to see this and this and this and this, then they can use any tool. And it's not about the tool. You're not grading them on using a comic strip creator or a poster maker or creating a Google site. You're grading them on the objectives that they showed.
Sounds about right.
in the project. Okay, so those are some of the tools that I know those were a lot of tools in a very short amount of time. But like we said, the Instructional Technology Toolkit has all of these tools here available for you. You can see the tools. You can view the video tutorials that go along with it. You can see a little synopsis of what it is, and you can see what level it pertains to. So please take advantage of that. And if you have any questions about any of the tools, of course, we are here to help you with that. And we are going to be sending out the recording of this webinar and the link to the project or to the presentation tomorrow probably. So be on the lookout for that, and feel free to share it with others. And if you liked Google Hangouts, please let us know. If you did not like Google Hangouts, please let us know that too. You can always comment at the bottom of the page or in the question and answer section. We appreciate your time. We know it's very valuable. We are here to help you. If you need anything, please let us know. And have a great rest of the week.
And one other thing, Betty Whiteley had asked a question, do students hang out on their Google Drive? Now I can look at this two ways. They can store stuff and edit and create stuff in their Drive, but Google Hangouts, the tool that we're using right now, is not available to students. We only have this turned on for teachers. So their student accounts through tomballschools.net has Google Hangouts turned off for students.
All right, guys, have a great week, and let us know if we can do anything for you.
Bye.